All right, so we stand in the NFL. We're gonna talk about the youngest quarterback MVP to date in NFL history. One, Lamar Jackson, Mr. Electric himself. After practice, he held an interview session like most of stars do. And one of the questions he got asked kind of stopped him right in his tracks. I'm assuming he maybe didn't like the question, or maybe he had to focus a little bit on the answer to the question. But he was asked by ESPN's own Jeremy Fowler, might this be the year that everybody figure out Lamar Jackson? And then Lamar Jackson said, "We're gonna see, we're gonna see." But I doubt it though. I strongly doubt it. And with that said, I think Lamar Jackson was pretty much saying this throughout every level of my career. No one has figured me out. So, with that said, Jay, is that is that confidence or is that arrogance? What say you?
I think that's a confident statement. But I also think it's like it's rooted in good logic. Because I think Lamar Jackson is right. I think it's going to be how much Lamar Jackson accomplishes, how far he can go. It's going to be predicated on his terms. And what I mean by that is Lamar Jackson's unlike any quarterback we've ever seen because the whole thing about defenses we're gonna figure them out. Oh really? You got a lot of fellas over there that run 4-3, do you? No, you don't. You don't have multiple guys that can run 4-3 and tackle this guy in the open field. We've seen it. I mean, remember when Mike Vick played and we thought Mike Vick was the most. You speaking of electric, this was before the Tesla. We thought Mike Vick was the most electric, running quarterback or whatever you want to call it. Like we thought we'd never see anything like what Michael Vick could do with the football in his hands. Lamar Jackson's better, running with the football. Now the thing of it is that I think we have to pay attention to. And this is where I was just a little bit disappointed last season, is I did not think Lamar Jackson got better enough with his ability to throw the football from the pocket. And I think if you want to win at the highest level in the NFL, Lamar Jackson's going to have to be better from the pocket because what we have seen is, and the Tennessee Titans are a good example, and even you go back to the Buffalo game in the playoffs last year. Teams have kind of, they feel like if they take away Lamar Jackson's legs, that gives them a chance. But Lamar Jackson, this is why I say this will be dictated on his term. If he can throw the football from the pocket better, it's not going to matter what defenses can do. We kind of seen it with Patrick Mahomes is kind of the opposite. Like Patrick Mahomes, first and foremost, he's just going to throw the football wherever he wants to. But we've also seen Patrick Mahomes have some crazy runs. He's a underrated athlete, outside
In the postseason too.
Yes,
In the
exactly.
postseason
Yeah,
too.
there was a couple of years ago. At one point, there was a crazy touchdown he had running down the sideline. Maybe it was against Houston a couple of years ago. But my point is, they ain't figuring out Patrick Mahomes because he can do everything. If Lamar Jackson, he's gonna have his athletic ability for a long time. Like I think maybe on the other side of 30, he'll lose some of that explosiveness. But if he can get better and be more consistent, throwing the football from the pocket, it's going to be defensive coordinators are going to be at his mercy. Defenders are going to be at his mercy. It's going to be tough to stop him, especially if he's playing at his best. And I don't think we haven't seen Lamar Jackson, especially in the playoffs yet, at his best. But I think generally speaking, and not to say that defensive coordinators haven't had his number at times, but I think most of it is because Lamar Jackson just hasn't been quite good enough yet throwing the football. And that's why I think Lamar Jackson's absolutely right. And I think he, probably understands this. Like, look, I got to get better. I got to be, obviously I got back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. I can do whatever I want in the open field, running with the football. I got to be more consistent throwing the football, And I think part of it is I don't think the Ravens have done the best of jobs surrounding him with, good weapons. They got Marquise Brown in there. We get it. I think they're gonna have a better chance this year. Sammy Watkins. Hopefully he stay healthy. You draft Rashad Bateman. I think that helps. You do have good tight ends, running game. So I think really the biggest thing is, you have a coach in John Harbaugh who comes in and understands his personnel. John Harbaugh had Joe Flacco for years, as prototype pocket passing quarterback. And then when he makes the switch to go to Lamar Jackson, he says, "Okay, this is a different quarterback. We gotta change things up." What's the Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator? Hey, Greg, what you got for us? Let's go ahead and tailor our offensive system to the personnel we have now. Not to bring people that don't matter into the conversation, but that's the difference between a guy who can actually coach and somebody named Jay Gruden, who will be out here and say, "Well, I don't want Dwayne Haskins because he doesn't fit my system." Your system ain't never won anything. The players on the field is what wins things. And that's the difference between good coaching and poor coaching. And just think of it like this: if God help Lamar Jackson, if he was over there with Jay Gruden, we probably see Lamar Jackson with about 300 yards per season running the football. But I think Lamar, just to wrap it up, and not to bang on Jay Gruden unnecessarily, but I think that's the difference between coaches that understand player over scheme, not scheme over player. And I think Lamar Jackson, if like I said before, if he can be better and more consistent from the pocket, I don't think it's gonna matter much what defenses do.
Hey, just to let you know, I just was looking at Jay Gruden's Twitter, and he said what he got to do with this. If he knew how to coach better, he'll still be a head coach. So, to answer the question, I'm gonna say confidence. I'm gonna say, listen. At the end of the day, Lamar Jackson deserves to feel this way. If you think it's arrogance, okay, cool. He deserves to feel arrogant. But I say confidence because of this. Give me the time, right? Like, if for anybody that knows about Lamar Jackson, young, African American kid, grew up, bad neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera. The kid has been Showtime since he's seen a football. Pop Warner, middle school, high school. You gotta think about it. Like I was telling you before the show, you gotta think about this. So the kid pick up football, fast kid on the field, Pop Warner, coaches all on the field and all this crap, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, oh, look at that kid. He's faster than everybody. Oh, okay, well, that's cool. That'll last for now, but when he gets to middle school, he'll run into other athletes just as good as him. Then he gets to middle school, he dominates middle school. Now they like, that'll be fine. He's going to get to high school, and then he's going to have athletes better than him. They'll catch up with him. No, go to high school, does his thing in high school. Gets to college. Mind you, do not go to a powerhouse in college, right? Don't even go to the powerhouse conference in college. Right. He goes to Louisville out of the ACC. You say to yourself, okay, well, he was like a 3-star or some crap like that. So, he didn't have offers like that. True, but 3-stars do still go to powerhouse conferences. I see it all the time. Alabama get at least 3 stars a year. So it's not like they can't, you know what I'm saying? But Lamar Jackson was so unique, people did not want him they didn't want to recruit him as a quarterback. That was the problem. They wanted him to do something else because of his speed, his athleticism, and what he can do with the ball in his hand. It took God dog, I had the coach in my head.
Bobby Petrino, is that him?
There we go. It took Petrino to say, hey, I'm a gamble on this guy. I'm going to give him a shot. The rest is history. He won the Heisman, et cetera, et cetera. Louisville ain't been that viable since. And they wasn't that viable before he got there. So he did his job.
I think that's the last thing Bobby Petrino did too, right? He's probably on the couch with Jay Gruden right now.
Hey, right. They over there playing spades. But like, but let's be real here. Louisville, that little stint that Lamar Jackson was there was the height of what we know of Louisville. We ain't heard from him since. And then he gets to the NFL. What do they say? Oh, now he in the NFL. Now this the pros. This the top level elite talent. He ain't gonna be doing that. Oh, whoa, the youngest MVP. Whoa, wait a minute. Well, I guess he's still doing that at the highest level too. Now, that's not to say he don't deserve some criticism because it was a legitimate question from Jeremy Fowler. Like, listen, has the NFL figured you out? Because, hey, bro, I'm looking at these playoff numbers and they looking a little low. So what we doing here? So I think the question was a very valid question by Jeremy Fowler. I don't think he was trying to be disrespectful. And to the Lamar Jackson's credit, he answered the question. He didn't get mad. He didn't pout. He didn't say, "Hey, that's it of this interview. I'm out of here." He could have did all that, but he answered it. He said, "All right, cool." And he answered it how he answered. So shouts out to Lamar Jackson for doing this job, Jeremy Fowler for doing this job, and for us over here on the Drink of Wisdom for doing our job.